Okay, I want to go over a few housekeeping things before we get started. First off, the having issues, or I say issues, just something different that YouTube's doing that they haven't done it up to this point. But whenever I have a video that goes into YouTube, for some reason, it like cuts it off at 30 minutes, and then it just takes about 2 or 3 hours for it to load. So realize if you're watching this at home, I film these, I guess, during our class time, right at 2 o'clock. So give it a little bit of time to load into YouTube for some reason. I don't know why it's doing it. Yesterday was the first time for it to happen. I'm not doing anything different on my side. So I don't know if it's just, I have no idea. I have just speculation on why it's happening. But but I am having that issue, and it looks as though if you give it a few hours, it'll load completely in there. But you only get the first 30 minutes for some reason until it completely loads. That's just the first kind of issue I've noticed. Second, so this class, you guys, I missed Monday. I was sick, but the lecture is in the class. I sent an email to the class to let you guys know that I put the lecture in yesterday so my Tuesday class had the same exact lecture. So I put the lecture for 2.7. It's already in Blackboard. And in the email, I asked you to watch it before today. If you haven't got to that point, that's fine. I'm not lecturing today on 2.7. You'll just need to watch that video and see what I go over. It's the lecture for 2.7. Today we're going to review like we plan on reviewing. And if you look now, the test is already up in Blackboard. You've got until Sunday to get it done. So today we're just going to review for the test because that lecture is already in the lecture video file. And I'll check that here in a minute, actually. Because the last thing I wanted to tell you about was a grade book. I put the grade book in Blackboard. And the reason I did this is because all semester I've been trying to figure out how to get it where you can see, like on the first test, what you missed and what you got right. So I believe I've done that. I followed the directions that I was told to do that. But I wanted to kind of share this with you. I'm going to share my screen real fast just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, hold on, I hit the wrong button. Share screen, this one, share. Okay, notice now when you go to Blackboard on the left, you're going to have a grade book option, and the grade book goes to the tests, these two tests. Now I didn't take these, right? I'm seeing it from my side. When you click on these, it should show your grade, and I believe if you click on the grade or the points that you made, I believe it will tell you if you got what you got right or wrong. I am totally open to feedback. If it doesn't work, please let me know or explain how you can or can't find it. I can't. This is something I can't see on your side because I have the faculty account. But please let me know. Now, notice test 2 is already in there, but it's not due until Sunday. So yeah, if you go to test now, you'll see test 2 college algebra is in there and ready to go. So after today's lecture, I would get the homework done. I would do everything I needed to do, but then I would definitely get that test done by Thursday. I'm sorry, by Friday. I've opened it up till Friday. Same exact instructions as test 1. Once you start, you have to finish. It's multiple choice.
Did you say open till Friday or till Sunday?
I'm sorry, Sunday. It's open till Sunday. It's open till Sunday at midnight. If something happens, we had an issue. I accidentally put the wrong time in for some reason for one class, but I made, it's one of those where I'm sure I made that mistake once. I won't make it again. But if you see something goofy that doesn't seem right, please email me. Okay, this is the part of me learning that side of it, but trust me, I'm going to be very flexible when it comes to that kind of stuff because I know I kind of need the flexibility myself. Are there any questions before we just get to a review of the test? Anything, you guys, any random questions you want to go over? Nothing? Okay, cool. We can get to the test. So let me flip it over to the camera. My little document camera here. Give me just a second, okay? I can see, hey, it's working, yay! That is a win for me. Sherry. Okay, for Blackboard and me. Me and Blackboard and I myself have not had the best relationship so far this semester, and so I'm glad to hear that that's working on your side. Okay, let me flip this over. Okay. So we talked about the grade book. Again, lecture for 2.7 is in, actually, I wanted to check it real fast just to make sure. I just assumed it was because it automatically does it. But if I go into the lectures, 2.7, yeah, 2.7 is in there. Okay. So the 2.7 lectures in there. Today we're going to review. I just wanted to mention the time for the YouTube because I know a lot of people watch these like right after class, maybe not my 2 o'clock class because you guys have a lot of stuff going on in the afternoon, but my 8 o'clock and my 9:15 classes, a lot of them are just watching it right afterwards, and I'm having an issue with that 30 minutes only popping up for 30 minutes for some reason. Okay, so today we're gonna go over the test review, and before we get started, let's just talk about the sections that are going to be on this test. Yeah. It started with 2.3, so the sections are going to be 2.3. That's not really showing up well, is it? Through 2.7. So 2.3 and 4, which are very similar. Let me start on the page. 2.3 and 4 are very similar. Remember that was on linear equations. And then 2.5 was on transformations. 2.6 was compositions, 2.7 was inverses, if you've seen that video already. So let's start with really 2.3 and 2.4. Try to get situated on the side. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah. I know you can't see it, but I've got like the test, the questions I chose from, I've got them opened up. So I'm just going to go over the questions I chose for this test and what I would focus on. And really the questions that students, because I mean, I've given this test for over a decade now in a certain way, shape, or form, but what you guys tend to struggle with. First is just finding slope. Okay. Now you're more than welcome to graph it, but the main thing is using that equation, the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, change in y over change in x. That's the first topic on this test. Now, as you know, if you took that first test, the questions are all out of order. That is not that's not because of me. Whenever I load the test questions from one software program to another to Blackboard, it randomizes it. I don't mean for that to happen. So I'm going through these in order, but that doesn't mean it's the same order as the test because it mixes them up for some reason. I have no idea why. So 2.3, still in 2.3. So first was finding slope. Second was finding y equals mx plus b. Now you're going to be given, for one question, you're going to be given a point and a slope. And the other one, you're going to be given 2 points. Okay, so we've got a point and a slope, and then 2 points. So either one of or actually both of those are going to be on the test. So you've got to find y equals mx plus b. I mean, this is back in that 2.3 lecture. And then for one question, I'm going to ask you, hey, given 2 points, find y equals mx plus b. And the second one, given a point and a slope, find y equals mx plus b. Okay, the third topic really was just graphing. Graph a linear equation. That's the whole, if you're in y equals mx plus b, what's the graph of the line? Remember, these are multiple choice, so what will happen is it'll have 4 different graphs, and you choose the correct one. Why is it doing that? Hold on. There we go. And then, so 2.4 started with parallel and perpendicular lines, right? So it was finding, can you guys see that? Yeah. finding y equals mx plus b given a parallel or perpendicular line and a coordinate. Now, these are all in the homework. They're definitely all in the lectures. I remember going over these distinctly, okay? And then I believe the last thing in 2.4, which I'll need a piece of paper. The last thing in 2.4 was finding the average rate of change. So 2.4 continued. Average rate of change. Now, if you remember back to the average rate of change, we did this with a graph or like kind of a real world example, or also with an equation. And I'm going to tell you for the test, focus on the equations. Let's say given an equation. You got to be given a function, I should say like that, given a function and x1 and x2. And if you go back into that lecture, you'll see that, and especially in the homework, there's a section where they give you a function and they say, what's the average rate of change from x1 equals this and x2 equals that? I give you an example or two even that are like that. Now, you don't have to worry about the graph, though. Or if I gave you a graph or I made you kind of create the graph, don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. And then we went to 2.5, which was on transformations. Ooh, let me turn that on silent. Transformations. So we had a lot of different kind of transformations. The first way I'm going to ask you is just to really show them on a graph, right? If I give you, given a function, I want you to graph I forgot what I'm going to find out what they actually call it. No, yeah, graph the parent function. And the transformation. The final transformation, not just one, not each step. So like if you've got an example where, we go to the left 2 units, we go down 3 units, and then we rotate around the x-axis, right? So whatever the final transformation is after that. So given a function, graph the parent function and the transformation, and then find the equation of a transformation. I don't know why I said that goofily, but find the equation of a transformation, right? So if I tell you, hey, g of x has a parent function that's a square root and it's shifted to the left 2 and up 3. What's the function? What's the equation? Okay, so one's graphing and one's finding the equation for it, okay? Okay. And then 2.6, first it starts off, and I know this was on a previous test, but I'm adding one question, one example to this test, and it was finding the domain of functions, where I give you a function, and remember there were 2 red flags. There was one where if we had like x's in the denominator or square roots, and I made you find the domain. That there's a question just like from the first test like that, okay? And it's at the very beginning of 2.6 if you want to look back at it, but it is on the test. And then really the first part of 2.6 was combinations. Combinations of functions. This was the whole like add, subtract, right? Add, subtract, multiply, and then divide. So I'm just going to give you 2 functions and then ask you to perform one of these operations, okay? Very, very, very straightforward. Gosh, don't miss one of those. Those are the easy ones, okay, on this test. This will be the question that, if I looked at, what's kind of neat on these is I can look and see like what percent of each question you guys all got right. And if I look at this one, I bet 99% of you guys will get this question right. If you didn't, it's because you overthought it. Okay. You overthought. Remember, we're just adding like terms or subtracting like terms. I didn't choose hard. I really did not choose hard functions on this one. Yeah. They're not like, weird square root quadratic crazy functions. It's just to make sure you know how to do the operations. So that was the combinations. And then we had composition functions. And it was finding, can you guys read that down there? Yeah. Finding compositions. So given two functions, find, F composed of G or G composed of F. And the other thing was given a composition, find the two functions. And I ran out of room there, but given a composition, find the two functions that compose that, right? Now, what's kind of nice about it being multiple choices, you can kind of go through and just do the compositions, but it's kind of the vice versa of it. First, on the first one, finding compositions, I'm going to give you two functions and I want you to compose, F composed of G or G composed of F. And then on the given a composite function, I'm going to give you the composite function, and really you have to identify the inside or the outside function, okay? The inside or the outside function. And the rest of the test is going to be from 2.7. So if you haven't watched the lecture video on 2.7, some of this is going to seem goofy, but just go back and watch it, and then you can kind of follow along, come back and watch the last part of this, okay? But 2.7 was on inverse functions. And the first thing on inverse function is actually identifying inverse functions. And it's kind of interesting. If two functions are inverses, I'll go over this a little more in detail because I know some of you haven't watched that video. If two functions are inverses, it turns out when you take their composition, you just get X, okay? And it doesn't matter which way you take it. So really, I give you like three functions and I ask you, well, which of these two are inverses? And you've got to take the compositions. And whichever two compose together and give you X, boom, that's your inverse, okay? And then the next part is finding the inverse. Now, finding the inverse, you'll have to go back and watch the lecture video. It's a longer process, but it's not that big of a deal. Once you kind of get a hold of it or a hang of it, it's not a big deal. It's just about 3 or 4 steps. So you have to kind of go through to find the inverse. And then graphing an inverse, which is it's on that lecture too. Graphing the inverse. And guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't watched this video, it's not a big, watch the video and you go, oh, that's not that hard. 2.7 is not that hard. You know what? That is the test. I went over every single question that's going to be on the test. Okay. I know you're saying, but you didn't give an example of any of them. And you're right, but I gave you the topic for each question. So every single one of those is going to be on this test. And now I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I am open to answering any questions now about anything on the test. So this is when we kind of go into like review two-way communication mode.
I actually need to study more before I can even ask any questions. So,
well, and that's understandable. And that's really why I opened it up till Sunday, right? So you guys could get some more time in.
thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, hold on. Let me go back here. Hold on. Yeah, and that's why I opened it up till Monday, or I'm sorry, till Sunday. I've said like 4 different days for that due date, but yeah, that's why I opened it up till Sunday because I know that. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that some of you guys don't check your email. So you had no idea that you're supposed to watch 2.7 video. I know that, one. And then two, it gives you more time to get some homework done, to ask questions. Like if you run in, if after watching 2.7 and you start on the homework and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, email me. I can try to help you, right? I've got office hours tomorrow. I've got office hours Friday. That's what they're meant for, is for that kind of stuff where you're working on it, you're not grasping it. That is what I'm here for. That's part of the thing I'm here for.
I do plan on working on it today and tomorrow. So yeah. If I
Yeah,
have any issues, I will hit you up.
and that's fine. And I expect that. I really do. I wouldn't say this is the hardest test. Or, if traditionally when I look back at like average grades, I always feel like the first test has the lowest average. There's a lot of students in there that I'm just new, the instructor's new, that whatever, having to set like, kind of a weekly time to study is a new thing maybe for people. If they've been out of class for a while, or if they're, maybe they were coming from high school and it was just kind of a little easy for them. I don't know, whatever it is, but I feel like the first
test.
test,
Feel better because I did good on my first test. So
yeah, typically I'll tell you the first test is the lowest. And then, but also, you just never know what happens though. Don't bank on that. It's not that everybody.
I was nervous on that first test and I did not expect to do as well as I did. So
yeah. Well,
I sat down and studied for 4 hours before I took it. And then when I took it, I was like, wow, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
That's
so,
well, and that's
but
what
I
happened.
studied hard.
Studied for 4 hours. Yeah.
I studied hard. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's amazing how easy it gets when you put in the time to do it. And that's in anything, right? That's sports, that's video games, whatever your thing is. The more time you put into it, those tasks become easier to do. It's just those other tasks, sometimes we want to do them more than math, right? Which is understandable. I get it.
I like math.
Huh?
I'm one of those. I like math, so we're
That's
good.
good.
Actually, I do enjoy it. People think I'm crazy, but
no,
I don't know.
You can make money doing that.
Well, that's why I'm going to be an accountant, I guess.
There you go. That's what a lot of people, when they ask me if they should do math, or like they enjoy math, what should I do? I usually point them in that field. Accountants make legit money. And I have a lot of buddies who just were math people that didn't want to take all the like Cal 3 differential equations, all that stuff, the theoretical math, right?
I'm scared of I keep hearing that business cal is going to be hard.
Nah,
and I have to take that.
I'll tell you, and this is advice for everyone in here. Calculus sounds hard, but what's nice about calculus, there's really just like 2 topics. There's like 2 topics you learn, and everything builds on those 2 topics. So it's not too crazy. The amount of time and energy you're probably putting into this class, you'll do fine if you put into that class. If you did, some people take this class and they really have a lot of pre-knowledge. Like if you're fresh out of high school, a lot of times like you've seen a lot of it already, so it's not as bad. But if a lot of this stuff is new or you haven't seen it in a long time, I'll tell you, put that same effort in business.
Well, yeah, I did have last semester. I had to take the
developmental,
beginners and intermediate. So
yeah.
it's still a little fresh in my mind, but it's been 24 years since I was in high school. So I kind of
I understand.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back.
And it will. Okay, guys, are there any questions? I'm going to stick around. Like you've got me. It's 2:50. I'm going to turn off the YouTube live, so the video is just not that long.